I am Michael Lane, and we are on location today with a very special guest, Dr. Pete Goldman. How you doing, Dr. Pete?
What's up, everybody?
Great to meet you in person finally.
Thanks for interviewing me in person. I'm doing great. We're here in Berkeley, California, and the view speaks for itself, although the viewers can't see it, but Michael and I can, and ready for some fun.
Yeah, no, it is. Great view of the San Francisco Bay. Just that's what he's talking about for everyone out there. And I know in the background we have Lisa Thomas. How you doing, Lisa?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for doing location, Michael. Good to see you always, Dr. Pete. I'm excited for you all. So I'm just going to kind of be quiet and listen and watch myself, and I may chime in at some point. And did you guys get to do a zone session today?
We have not, but we'll either do it during or after, whatever Michael decides.
Okay, perfect. All right, I'm gonna mute out and let you go with.
Okay, so for our new listeners here, Dr. Pete got quite a bio. Dr. Pete Goldman, born and raised in New York City, is founder of Zone School of Healing and the Zone Technique. In his chiropractor practice, he has had patients fly in to see him for healing in 30 different countries and cities around the globe. Also, over 200 of his patients have driven 4 hours each way for a 5-minute zone adjustment with him. Zone School has over 1,200 doctors and healers of all types as members worldwide and is growing fast. Zone School teaches the zone technique and healing knowledge not commonly understood or taught, resulting in superior results with musculoskeletal and non-musculoskeletal conditions. Dr. Pete has black belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Kyokushin. Is that how you pronounce it? Yep. Did I say that right?
Kyokushin, but damn good.
And many of the best pro athletes in the world are his patients. So, Zone School has been featured in several magazines and newspapers, including the San Francisco Chronicle, the Black Belt Magazine, and Chiropractic Economics. So, Dr. Pete, how's things going?
It's going great. I'm actually out here. I was teaching a seminar, as I think you're aware. Zone School, of course, is an online course. However, there are in-person events which are optional and supplemental. And I taught one in San Ramon, which is 15
right down the road. Yeah,
20-minute drive from here. And it was spectacular. It was actually an advanced seminar,
right?
Because Zone School events, most of them, if someone goes to the Zone School website, zoneschoolofhealing.com, they click on live events, they'll see that most live events are open to any doctor or healer. It could be a chiropractor or an acupuncturist or a Reiki master, or energy worker, or naturopath or whatever.
Okay.
Whether they're members of Zone School or not. So most live events are open to any doctor or healer, Zone School member or not. And most people who are not Zone School members yet who do attend a live event tend to join Zone School to get the full online course. With that said, once in a while, I'll teach what's called an advanced event, which is only for Zone School members. So you have to already be, so it kind of presupposes that they have a foundation and they understand the basics of what I've taught because they've been through the basic course, which is 60 hours online.
Right.
So we just taught one Saturday, which was amazing. It was one of the best events I've taught. It was
really
accurate. Yeah.
Really? So that was Saturday. So that's the whole reason why you're here at the hotel.
Yeah, I came for that, and of course I knew I would see you. So
right,
hanging out.
Yeah. This is great. Yeah, it's a great place, and I tell everybody, yeah, this is to be part of this live event would be really something to experience. And we've had you on. I think this will be our 4th time interviewing you, but we've had a lot of new listeners since then. So for our new listeners, what is zone technique?
Great question. So let's start with this. So let me start by saying Zone School teaches the zone technique.
Okay.
And it also teaches the principles of healing, which are really not taught anywhere else. And if they are, I haven't done an exhaustive search of the world. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe if you go to some cave in Tibet, there's someone teaching these things. Not to say that other healing courses or ideas, or teachings out there are not touching on some of these principles to a degree.
Right.
They may be.
Okay.
But the distillation of the highest healing knowledge that exists in my experience, right, is what's taught in Zone School. I'm not aware of it being taught anywhere else. So Zone School teaches, again, the zone technique, which I'm going to discuss in a minute. And the bigger picture is very, very high level principles of healing. So that's that. I will get into the principles. Okay. But just for the context, the zone technique actually, there was a great healer who was a chiropractor named Dr. Thurman Fleet. And Dr. Thurman Fleet in the 1930s created zone therapy. Now, zone therapy is kind of the forerunner of zone technique. We can talk about Dr. Fleet if you want. But with that said, in the early 1990s, I learned zone therapy from 4 of Dr. Fleet's direct disciples. So I was, right, you've heard the saying, like, at the foot of the master.
Yeah.
I sat at the foot of the master or the masters.
Right.
And I spent over 100 hours with each of the 4. So I was with 4 direct disciples of Dr. Fleet, and I spent one-on-one, like we're sitting like this,
right,
over time, 100 hours with each of the 4. So wow. If you add it all up, it's probably about over 500 hours one-on-one with 4 of Dr. Fleet's direct disciples, learning zone therapy and principles of healing. Then I kind of refined what I had been taught, and I made zone technique, which is different than zone therapy. And if someone looks at Dr. Fleet's books on zone therapy, which is quick, I love Dr. Fleet, you'll see some vast differences.
And that's what I was going to get into. That's my next question. What is the difference between zone technique and zone therapy?
Great question. So there's several differences, but some of the differences are Dr. Fleet, when he worked on a patient. Again, let me preface this by saying I love Dr. Fleet. I have a picture of him in my office. I love Dr. Fleet. He's the greatest. He's one of the greatest healers of the last 2,000 years. So love Dr. Fleet and everything he taught. With that said, I've had several influences besides Dr. Fleet's lineage in metaphysics, in healing, and martial arts, and every influences have been kind of distilled into what is zone technique and zone school. With that said, some of the differences. So one thing is, when Dr. Fleet worked on a patient, he would go off their symptoms. So, for example, there are 6 zones of the body, which are glandular, eliminative, nerve, digestive, muscular, and circulatory. Every single cell in the body is in one of those 6 systems. So any disease condition, any ache or pain, any discomfort, any imbalance, any problem experienced by the human body can be attributed to a disturbance in one or more of those 6 systems that I just mentioned. What Dr. Fleet would do, let's say someone came to Dr. Fleet, I'm making this up, and they had high blood pressure, constipation, and neck pain. Let's just pretend. It can be any 3 things. We'll just take those. So he would say, okay, well, your neck pain is from zone 5, the muscle system, right? Your constipation is from zone 2, the eliminative system, and your high blood pressure is from zone 6, the circulatory system. So he would say, what I'm going to do is I am going to, he would say it takes about a month to clear a zone. So I want you to come, we'll say twice a week for the first month. We're just going to do zone 5. So for the first month, we're going to do the points in the span that relate to the healing of zone 5, okay, the muscle system. And we'll do it, twice a week for a month, right? And after about a month, I expect your neck, I think I said neck, I expect your neck to feel perfect. Then we're going to switch to zone 2. We're going to do different points in your body to work on zone 2, which is your eliminative system. I still want you to come twice a week. And for twice a week, we're just going to work on zone 2. And, within about a month, I expect, when it's formerly constipation, I expect you to be totally regular. So that would be right there. You say, now I'm going to, after those 2 months have elapsed and your neck is perfect and your regularity is great, then I'm going to ask you to continue to come twice a week, but this time we're going to switch to zone 6, which is your circulatory system. And we're going to work on circulation, maybe twice a week. Right. And I expect in about a month for your blood pressure to be normal. And then in 3 months or so, after having worked on those 3 zones, your neck will be perfect, your regularity will be perfect, and your blood pressure will be normal. So that's 3 good things, which is great. Hey, that's awesome. But that's not how, that's zone therapy. That's not my technique.
Right.
So yes, the difference is why they're different. I wouldn't do it that way. Every time they come in, I would check the back of their head, and I would see what shows up on the back of their head. And the back of their head tells me which of those, and the superior vertical line tells me which of those 6 systems needs work. And based on what I find, I would work in the proper point. So for example, let me give you an example. Let's say a patient came in to me that was having period cramps, such as period cramps. Now, you would think period cramps are probably going to fall under the glandular system or the nervous system. Probably. It could be the other system, but probably. So let's just say a woman came to me. I felt the back of her head, and I'm like, okay, your glandular system is off, which is related to your uterus and ovaries. I'm going to balance your glandular system, and then I expect your period, which formerly was crampy, to be crampless, which would happen. And that's what I would do if zone 1 showed up. Whatever. Well, let's just say zone 6 showed up. Let's just say zone 6 showed up. I feel their head. They still came for period cramps, but zone 6 is what shows up on their head.
Right.
I am not going to do as Dr. Fleet would. That's it's like, doesn't matter. You have period cramps. I'm doing zone 1.
Right.
We're doing it. I would do zone 6 because if the body is telling me that zone 6 is off, I might understand it intellectually. I might not, but the body knows what it needs.
Exactly.
So me saying in the back, I don't know, maybe it's circulation, right? I don't know, maybe she has too much circulation here, or maybe she has too little circulation. I don't know, but she obviously has some imbalances in her circulation, which is somehow, whether I understand it or not, making her period crampy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to balance her circulation with the expectation that her period will be fine. Now, the first example I gave was if zone 1 showed up. Easy. Okay, well, that's a glandular, whatever. The second is circulation. Again, this is all for the period. Doesn't, totally make sense, but you could make sense of it with the, circulation. But let's just say woman comes in, she tells me she's a irregular cycle, crampy cycle, and I feel the back of her head and zone 5 shows up, muscle system. And I'm thinking, what the hell do what muscles have to do with her period? Right. I mean, she's thinking that.
Yeah.
She's sitting there telling me she has period cramps, and I'm telling her that her muscles are up.
Yeah.
I also do the muscles. Because when I do those muscles, her cycle will even out. Because listen, what is the connection between the muscles and the period? I don't know. But the body knows.
The body knows.
So I will do what the body tells me. So there's, we'll just say there's 7 or 8 major differences in zone technique and zone therapy. That's one of them. Zone therapy, Dr. Fleet, in his own book, on Dr. Fleet's own book on zone therapy, it says go after the symptom. Go after the symptom, right? Which is fine. But like I said, he's one of the greatest healers ever. He knows what he's doing. But I'll let the body tell me what to do. It might make sense intellectually. It might kind of make sense intellectually. It might not make any sense intellectually, but I'll do it with the expectation that they will heal. That's an example of the effect.
That makes total sense to me, because like you said, the body knows.
Right.
And it kind of, to me, takes away that, even in traditional medicine, the symptom's always getting treated. And sometimes it doesn't, a lot of times it just doesn't work. Correct me if I'm wrong, so with your technique, it seems to shorten up the process, the healing process, right? With Dr. Fleet, since he's going down all the zones and treating symptoms, this and that, you're getting directly more with the problem, what the body's telling you, and can possibly have a shorter.
It's actually a good question. I actually never thought of that. I'd say it could happen either way. In other words, the way zone technique works, it could wrap everything up quicker, or it could be about the same time. Right. It could be either way. Okay. Yeah. I think even with Dr. Fleet, to his credit, and he gets plenty of credit, but to his credit, I think Dr. Fleet would probably, if someone came for constipation, and he said, it takes about a month to clear zone 2, right? And after 2 weeks, they're totally regular. We want the circulation. I don't think he would say, we must do the next 2 weeks of zone 2. So,
okay. So your background is traditional chiropractor. Mm-hmm. That's what you started out in. And being that's kind of and you think of chiropractic, it's kind of an aggressive approach, pop and snap, crack and all that. And zone technique strikes me as a little more of a softer approach. So how did you make that transition?
Good question. So a couple things. So first of all, within chiropractic, there's many different kinds of chiropractors. So before we even get to zone school or zone technique, let's just start with chiropractic since you brought it up. Good question. And again, this has nothing to do with zone school or zone technique. I'm just talking about chiropractic. So chiropractic, there's some very soft, gentle techniques like a network chiropractic. It's a kind of chiropractic called network chiropractic. They're very, very gentle. Then there's something like a Gonstead chiropractic, which tends to be a little more thorough when they're adjusting. And then there's many in between, and some even will adjust with an instrument. Like it's very gentle, it's just the instrument touching them goes to the head. So that's that. But the way I think of it, just to tell you, is I think of it like apples and oranges. Like, for example, like apples, there's like Macintosh apples, there's Red Delicious apples, there's whatever the green ones are called, whatever, right? So if I looked at it kind of like, well, chiropractic's kind of rough and this is kind of gentle, I would almost be thinking, oh, chiropractic is like a Red Delicious apple, but this is like a Macintosh apple. I look at it like, this is like a pineapple. Like, this is not like, it's nothing. And again, I have nothing against chiropractic. I mean, I'm a chiropractor. I respect chiropractic. I respect the history of it, respect some chiropractors that currently practice who are not in zone school. But chiropractic, to put it bluntly, means nothing to me. I mean, it's not, listen, I have no negative feelings about chiropractic. I have nothing against chiropractic. Again, I respect results. That's the results. So, for example, let's just say you said to me, hey, Pete, I know this chiropractor. They're not even in zone school. I don't know how they do what they do, but they really get great results. Let's just say, like, you're good. I'll refer someone to them. Like, I'm all for results. With that said, 95 plus, I can say this quite confidently, 95 plus % of chiropractors in this world right now who are not in zone school have not a clue what they're doing. No. Why do I say that? I'm not saying that philosophically. I'm saying that on results. Because look, Michael, there's only two kinds of patients that come into people's offices. Well, it's many kinds, but I'm breaking it down. They either have a musculoskeletal problem or a systemic problem. It's one of the two. Meaning this category, the neck hurts, their knee hurts, their shoulder hurts, their foot hurts, their back hurts, whatever. Yep. There's a disc problem. That's the musculoskeletal category. Then there's the systemic category. They have a thyroid problem, a gallbladder problem, liver problem, their digestion is like that. 99%, forget 95, 99% of chiropractors living in this world right now who are not in zone school are mediocre at musculoskeletal and clueless on non-musculoskeletal. Let me elaborate. I don't want to make any blanket statements that can't be backed up. Why do I say mediocre at musculoskeletal? Because you think, well, chiropractors, they're actually good at neck and back pain. So let's at least say they're very good at neck and back pain, or even great at neck and back pain fixing, even if they're not that good at systemic. Why do you say they're mediocre, even if the thing they're known for? And then why do you say they're clueless about like fixing thyroid? I'll tell you. Let's start with this first. We'll get to that. Let's start with if someone's not in zone school and they're a chiropractor, and someone walks into their office and says that their gynecologist says they need a hysterectomy, and the chiropractor, not what are they going to do? Nothing. And they can give any kind of speech philosophically. I relieve subluxations, I align the spine, I open this. Okay, you're going to make them not need a hysterectomy? No. So everyone can have an eloquent speech about philosophy, but what are you really going to do when the chips are down? Nothing. So it's a systemic nothing. Exactly. Unless they start doing that, say, I'm going to give you an herb. They might give other stuff, but they're going to put bones in place and expect to, And I'll do that. I had someone flying to me from Canada who was told they needed a hysterectomy. 1 week they flew in. Fixed. Really? And they went back. The gynecologist said, how did this happen? Okay. So now let's go to the musculoskeletal, which you think, no, but chiropractors, even if they're not in zone school, they can fix necks and back. But let me tell you something that I've seen again and again and again. Let me tell you. Now, first of all, I'm not even talking about the countless, because I've lost count, of people who came to me with neck pain and back pain and disc problems, who went to 5 chiropractors, couldn't get fixed. They came to me for a month, and we're all really talking about that. I'm talking about this, and it's a very interesting phenomenon. I only discovered it through the years of practice. I never thought about this, but then I was like, wow, this is really a thing. Right. The patient would come in, a new patient, and they said, hey, Dr. B, nice to meet you. I moved there, whatever. And they moved here from some other, like, Ohio, whatever. They moved, to my town, not because of me, they just moved to my town for whatever reason. And they want me to be there in this, after they moved here. They heard about me somehow and they got referred. So they tell me that in their former town, we'll just say Ohio, making that up, they went to a chiropractor. They're familiar with chiropractic. In fact, they tell me this story. This is a story I've heard again and again and again. Hey, Dr. Pete, they tell me they have a low back condition. They have a low back condition. But they went to this chiropractor in Ohio for 10 years, once a week or twice a month. And they love him or her. Oh, it helped them so much because even though they had this low back condition, they really helped manage their low back condition. And it's a lot better than it would have been, because, they're still in pain. They still have a low back condition, but there's still a lot of things they can't do, but they can do more things than they would have been able to do. Right. So they're actually very indebted to this chiropractor. They tell me how much they love chiropractic and they love their chiropractor, which I'm happy for, So when they come, they go, no, I've moved here. I've heard about you. Here's the first meeting. They say, they want me to manage their low back problem, whatever they've had. And I tell them right away, imagine anything, I fixed up. And guess what? They're like a little shocked. And guess what? 4 or 5 weeks later, their low back is perfect. And I tell them like this, so to be clear, I go, once I fix your low back, if you have low back pain 1 day per year, that's 1 day too many.
Right.
And it's happened countless times and never gets all fixed. So when I say chiropractors are mediocre at neck and back, there you go.
Right.
Not to mention what I said before, that too many people to even remember how many have come to me with some neck or back or muscular, and they're really 5 chiropractors with mediocre to no success, and they get better in a month or two. So that is kind of your answer about chiropractic. It's like pears and pineapples. It's got nothing to do with each other. I just happen to have gone to chiropractic school, but what I know and what I teach transcends chiropractic 1,000 times over. And I just want to just to finish the thing, the last 30 seconds, say this, and I said it before, but I don't want it to get lost in the shuffle because I don't want to offend any chiropractors who may be watching. Results come first, because let's just say there's a chiropractor thinking, no, I'm not in these, I'm good. Like they say, I'm not even in zone school. I just know what I know. I do what I do. And I do help people well with the musculoskeletal. And yes, just with my hands, I adjust them and their thyroid heal. Good. I'm happy for you and your patients. And if you tell me who you are, I'll refer people to you.
Right.
Results do come first. But I'm saying that's the exception.
Right.
In general, that's what's going on.
Well, and I can relate because I've gone to chiropractors, and it's a cycle. You're constantly returning. You feel great briefly, but sooner or later you got to go back.
Actually, on that note, I had someone join zone school recently. This woman who was a chiropractor joined zone school about a month or so ago. I forget exactly how long ago, but the last few months.
Right.
And I remember it was interesting. She had a free webinar about zone school, and she was on it. And she asked some questions. Then she joined. And I remember she said this. She said, "I want to join." She goes, "No, I'm really good." She goes, "I'm really good," which I don't doubt. No, but that's not the point.
Right.
She goes, "My patients all leave. They're like, oh my God, I feel so good. Thank you." And I said, "I believe that." I said, "But that's not what this is about."
Right.
If you just want to be a healer who makes patients go like, "Oh my God, I feel good," send them for a regular massage. But you having someone go, "Oh my God, I feel so good," you're not fixing their thyroid or their liver or their immune system.
Exactly.
And she was like, "Oh, I'm not." I said, "Well, now you will when you join zone school," which she did.
That's awesome. That's a huge thing to be able to do. I would think that the light bulb kind of goes off in their head when they realize, how much more they can fix and heal people. Because that's what, like I said, it's results, what it's all about. Can we talk a little bit about brain centers? Because you don't hear much about them. And what I was thinking, you can even show me and kind of do a little bit on me.
My pleasure. So let me first explain it. Okay. So, and again, I didn't think I'd be harping on chiropractic so much, but I have to based on the question. So just to answer it. So the general chiropractic theory is called the safety pin cycle theory. I'm going to explain. That's very easy to understand, even if you've never heard it or anyone listening never heard it.
Okay.
That's very easy to understand. They teach it in chiropractic school. It's called the safety pin cycle. It's an old chiropractic philosophy. And I'm not saying it's bad or anything like that. That's what I'm explaining it to you. But once you understand the general chiropractic safety pin cycle, and then I answer your question about brain centers, you're going to have a real revelation. So, okay. So just follow me. It's very easy to follow. The general safety pin cycle is this. chiropractors believe this. Here's the brain.
Right.
Here's the spinal cord.
Right.
It's a spinal column on the spinal cord.
Right.
The nerves come out of the spine and they go to different cells, muscles, and organs. That's the anatomy. That's just from an anatomy. But the chiropractic safety pin cycle believes that here's the brain sending that signal down the cord, but if the bones are out of place, then the signal from the brain down the cord out of the nerve gets interfered with when the bone's out of place.
Right.
Sends an interfered with signal to,
Right.
to an organ, muscle, and now that organ will not function well, or that muscle will be tense or whatever. But if the chiropractor can analyze the spine, put the bone in place that was out of place, it opens up that nerve flow, and now you have an unoccluded flow to that area. And that's why it's called a safety pin cycle, because they say that when the bone's out of place, it's like the safety pin's like open, but if you put the bone in place, it like closes, and then everything. That is a safety pin cycle. Now, already that before we go on the brain centers, they obviously have the problem, because chiropractors all over the world do that, but they don't fix anyone's organs really, right? Unless inadvertently. I'm going to be wrong. Someone practices for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, they're inadvertently, they should come in for their back and then their uterus healed. I mean, it's going to happen here and there, right? And there's a reason that happens, which I explained in zone school, but I'm not even going into that. Okay. But they're not doing it day in and day out, that's for sure. But with that said, so that's the general safety pin cycle. Brain, cleared, take the nerve interference off, now it can grow the safety pin. But zone technique says, here's the brain center. What if the brain is setting the wrong signal in the first place? What if the brain is imbalanced? This person has an unbalanced brain for whatever reason.
Okay.
So now you've opened up that signal to the cell because you put the bone in place. Who cares? All you've done is open up a faulty signal, which is why plenty of people get adjusted and they're still sick.
Oh.
So zone technique says, based on zone therapy, Dr. Feet says we can actually find out which brain centers are unbalanced in the first place. Because if a brain center is unbalanced, two things don't happen, which I'll tell you what they are. And if a brain center is balanced, two things do happen, which I'll tell you what they are. If a brain center is unbalanced, we'll take the glandular one. We mentioned it before, it doesn't matter. Let's say the part of the brain that controls the glands is unbalanced. A, it cannot monitor the glands properly, because that's part of what the brain does. And B, it can't send the right signals to the glands anyway, because it's unbalanced.
Right.
But a brain center that is balanced can do two things. A, it can monitor the systems it controls properly, in this case the glands. And B, it can send the right signals to the glands to be healthy, to heal and or to maintain health. So zone technique, we don't rely on the safety pin cycle at all. We're going to find out by filling these points in the back of the head that relate to these 6 brain centers, which brain centers are balanced, which are not. And then once we find out by filling the back of the head which brain centers are not balanced, we stimulate certain points in the spinal cord in order to reset the brain center in question. Because the body is like an electrical machine. The brain is the positive pole, the cord is the negative pole. So the back of the head tells us what part of the positive pole is not balanced. And there's certain points in the negative pole that we stimulate, either if you're a chiropractor, but stimulate it like that if you want. Or you could be an energy worker and just stimulate it like this. Or you could be a massage therapist and just stimulate. Right. But if you stimulate the 4 points properly, you will reset the brain center. Now the brain center can monitor the system properly and send the right signals, which is why people have their livers healed, their gallbladders, and their pancreas, and their heart. I had a guy, by the way, I always bring this guy up because I'm proud of him. I had a guy in zone school, he's actually a massage therapist. That's his degree, because zone school, it's not 1,200, it's about 1,600 now. We have about 1,600 members worldwide, all kinds of doctors and healers. And this particular doctor, he's a massage therapist, right? He's in Australia. And he had someone come to him on a heart transplant list. Now you can imagine how messed up someone's heart would be if they're on a heart transplant list. He did his thing, balanced them out, fixed them up, went back to the doctor, we're like, your heart's fine. Wow. Not on the transplant list anymore. Holy cow. So that's how powerful this is. How many massage therapists are doing that? We're not in zone school. None. He is.
I'm willing to say them.
Ray Orthothin is in Australia. I think it's in Perth. I may be wrong about the town, but she's in Australia.
Right. That is me. Well, how about show me the example on me then?
Sure. Okay.
It's because everyone understands the brain centers, which you just explained. That you're going to the root of the problem.
Yes. And also, it's interesting, there's so many, Michael, as you know, there's so many different, there's two things in healing. There's the techniques, right? There's the philosophies. So, for example, let's say someone is a chiropractor. There's 300 or so different techniques of chiropractic.
You're kidding me.
Wow. 300 different techniques of chiropractic.
Wow.
So they have those different ways to do the techniques.
Right.
And let's talk about other things. There's the acupuncturist. There's a homeopath.
Right.
And in homeopathy, you have a classical homeopath and then the non-classical homeopath who disagree on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, true.
So you have the 300 different techniques in chiropractic. They basically disagree with each other. You have the naturopath. You have the homeopath, the classical homeopath. You have the acupuncturist. You have the reflexologist. You have the energy worker. So this is all this category of techniques, like they're Reiki 1 certified, they're Reiki 2 certified, they're Reiki, these. Right. Okay, so these are the different techniques. Then you have the different philosophies. So, let's say, we can talk about this forever, but let's say someone is like, well, my philosophy is whatever it is. And so like, well, I don't look at it that way, and whatever. And so, and then it says, well, I think if someone has a symptom, you should go attack the symptom. And so other person says, well, I think the symptom's good because the body, whatever,
Right.
But someone says, I like when the patient actually doesn't feel, I'm not saying this, but I like when the patient doesn't feel good after they get a treatment because that means their body's retracing. And someone says, no, I don't like it. These are just philosophies.
Right.
So every healer out there, they come to the table with their techniques and their philosophies. And then you go in their office and they're standing there and they believe certain things from their philosophies of how healing should be. And they have certain techniques of how they learned how to do it. Right. And then you're standing there and then you tell them, I don't know, you have headaches and you have insomnia, toe hurts or whatever. And then they're like, oh, headaches, insomnia, your toe hurts. And then they start interacting with you. That's what it is. Now, and then X amount of time later, hopefully your head feels all better. You sleep like a baby and your toe is healed. Hopefully, if it's a good healer. Unfortunately, a lot of time with all these freaking techniques, all these philosophies, the people still don't sleep that good and they still have headaches and their toe still hurts, so sometimes they get better. So I just like to say that I never want zone school or zone technique to be caught up in a philosophical argument or a technical argument. Because let's just say, let's say I'm doing this and someone's like, well, I don't like that technique because I like my technique better. I'm like, oh, well, can you get someone off a liver transplant list? No, you can't. So who cares what you like?
Right.
There's kind of like, someone's like, hey, your philosophy, it's not, my philosophy is this. I'm like, okay, like you're going to make someone not need a hysterectomy? No, they're not. So it goes with your philosophy. And so again, this is not about life. Like, for example, I have a lot of respect for people's life philosophies, and I don't really want to get involved with that.
Right.
Because how should I tell someone how they should live or what they should think, or what the religion they should be, or that's not my interest, or who they should vote for. Like, I have no interest in that because let's say one person loves Trump, one person loves Biden. And the person who loves Biden is like, how could you vote for Trump? Are you nuts? And the person who voted for Trump is like, how could you vote for Biden? So I don't like that. I don't care. It's not for me,
I gotcha.
But here, I'm happy to chime in because here we have people who are suffering and need help.
Yes.
So a lot of healers, it's sad to say and almost shocking to hear, but I'll tell you, a lot of healers put their philosophy ahead of the patient's well-being. So for example, I'll give you an example. Okay. Let's say someone comes to a healer of some type, whatever they are, and they have really bad headaches, just bad headaches. Bad. So bad they almost want to kill themselves because they don't want to be alive in such pain. It's very sad. That their head hurts 7 days a week, and it's hard for them to be alive. So they're almost suicidal.
Right.
And they go to a healer, and the healer does it could be a chiropractor, it could be whatever. This is someone who's not in zone school, obviously, but they work with them for a couple months, and then they still have headaches. And then the healer goes, or the chiropractor or whatever, says, well, I balanced your body according to my parameters, and that's just kind of the way your body wants to express.
Right.
My answer to that, excuse my Brooklyn, is fuck that, because this is a suffering human being who doesn't want to be alive, and you have the nerve to put your philosophy of healing in front of their well-being. It's like, well, I know you're still suffering. I know you still want to kill yourself, but according to my parameters, I've done according to my parameters, what I have to do. That's just the way your body wants to express. Now, as I said before, it's all fun and games till it's your mother.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you get together with the other healers in your group, you're like, hey, believe these people, they don't understand how healing works, because they think, and they kind of support, these patients that, okay, God forbid it's one of their mothers who wants to kill themselves, then they call Dr. Pete, send her to me, because I'll fix her.
Right.
So I'm just saying, like, when it comes to healing, results beat everything. And then when it comes to politics, religion, I have nothing to do with that. I have no comment, everyone can do whatever they want. It's not my business, nor do I even have an expertise on that stuff. So why would I talk about that? But in healing, if someone's not getting results, then the only thing that's left is excuses. So anyway, I just wanted to give you that. Now, on that note, and I would say this, that the zone technique, the results are unparalleled, and anyone can check it out. Right. Now, with that said, we'll tilt the camera a little bit. I don't have a tradition. We'll do it right here. So, Michael, we're kind of adapting here, because usually one would have more like a chiropractic table, and
right,
be standing up.
We're improvised,
right? But we're adapting to the fact that we're trying to get this all in the frame, and we're just using this. So this is not my typical positioning when I'm setting the patient, but it's here. It doesn't matter.
Field work.
Yeah. So Michael, tell me what you would like me to fix for you. If you could survey your own body and tell me what I could fix for you, tell me what it is.
Digestive would be one.
Okay, fair enough, digestive. Okay. So now here's the thing, I'm going to tell everyone. Let's just say let's just pretend he said that his shoulder, I know he didn't, but let's just pretend he did. And I said, well, Michael, what do you mean your shoulder hurts? And he's like, man, I can't even do a push-up, because if I do a push-up, my shoulder hurts. Then I would actually have him go on the floor, try a push-up, show me where it hurts, and then I would do what I would do, and 2 minutes later, so I'd go do it, and he most likely would do it with no pain or much less pain, and after a few sessions, no pain whatsoever. We don't have that kind of before and after, because when I do this, he's not going to say like, oh, my digestion's all better. But since Lisa and Michael are in touch or whatever, obviously in touch every day probably, or close to it, I would expect that after this quick session I give him now, in a day, a week, 2 weeks, a month, whatever, I don't know what Pete did, but my digestion is infinitely better than it was. So I'm just telling you, that's our before and after. You can report it later. Everyone,
yes, I'll do that for sure. Yes.
If you don't mind, lay face down.
Face down.
Yeah, just lay with your face here. Okay, Lisa. You're fine. Lisa, can you see everything up here?
Yep, everything's great.
Okay, Michael, just keep your. So I'm gonna feel. Just put your head straight for a second. I'm gonna feel these points on his head, and I already found the problem. The problem is right here. You feel that? Okay, sit up for a sec. I'm gonna be quiet. Fix it. I'm gonna fix it in a moment. I'm gonna come back down here so we're in view. So the issue with his digestion is his eliminative system is off, which actually the part of his brain that governs his sinuses, lungs, bronchial tubes, kidneys, intestines, and bladder that part of his brain needs resetting. So in order to fix that part of the brain, which is in the cerebrum, I'm going to work on 4 points in the cord. These are 4 specific points in the negative pole to send energy up to the brain to reset the brain center. It's funny. I'll just pause here. It's funny. I've actually had some people say to me, if you do zone technique, I'm like, well, you're not a zone school. I never taught you. Oh, I just saw a couple videos. Guys, if you think you could watch a freaking YouTube video of me doing it and learn, you're sorely mistaken. Because guess what? The basic course of zone school is 60 hours. And
I know.
Courses I have 500 hours for my mastermind members. So if someone thinks they're going to watch a 4-minute video of me doing this and they go do it on people, you're in for a little surprise. So anyway, go face down, please. Okay. Now, you just feel that tenderness on that point, the micro.
Yes.
Okay. Now, this time, put your head to either side. Just turn your head to either side. Put your arms by your side. Now, there's 4 points I'm going to do. I'm not going to say what they are because then people are going to be like, oh, I know how to fix the elimination. I'm not going to say what they are, but they're in zone school. You're that little. Yeah. So we are stimulating the cord. Sometimes there's a noise, sometimes there's not. That's incidental. Sit up, please. Just sit up, actually, just like you were. Now I'm going to stimulate a very specific level in the cord. Again, this is going to be done with a chiropractic adjustment to stimulate it, but it can be done energetic. It can be done in many, many ways. I just happen to be stimulating this level of the cord with a chiropractic move. I'm going to try to get out of the way here. Just let your right ear drop to your right shoulder, but super gentle. Good. You heard that little stop. And now, again, my fingers on a very specific level of this cord to heal his brain. Drop it a little. Good. Now, go face down, please. Now, remember that point that was tender on your head? Put your head straight for the moment. Tell me, how is it? Man, well, I'm feeling nothing. Of course you know. Sit up, please.
Wow, I'm kind of envious. I got to tell you.
we said when he walked in this room, the communication in his body between his brain and his cells was slightly chaotic. That's when the digestion was up. Now that brain center is reset, and now his brain center is monitoring his illuminative system properly and sending like signals. And again, it's not like a shoulder where he gets up and does the push-up, but he'll tell Lisa how much better his digestion is, even from that one session, because now his body's on healing autopilot and it's in healing mode, which it wasn't before.
I mean, I've been even fighting this low-grade headache for the past few days.
Those are over.
And I even feel that clear about it.
Of course.
Oh, I love this. So I have to tell you, Dr. Pete, I am all about results, just like you. I don't think you need to, as you know, I call it the mortgage program. If you keep seeing people, healers, no matter what, or doctors, and you keep seeing them again and again, I call it the mortgage program. You're just paying their mortgage, because if you're having to keep going back 1,000 times or years or whatever, you're not really healing. So I appreciate that Zone is so quick, and I get zoned regularly, and it has helped me tremendously. So I'm a little jealous because I have never had one in person. I've only had remote sessions. So I may get to see Dr. Pete coming up here pretty soon, and I'll be traveling a little bit. So I may run into him and get a live session. So I'm really looking forward to that. But can we talk a little bit, Dr. Pete, about Zone School? And I want to come at it from a healer standpoint, because I believe, and I have energy healing background, that's, for many years, as so there's a lot of people, I think, in the world that feel like they want to be in the healing arts, but they don't, and they feel maybe natural things like they're intuitive or they're empathic and they have a heart of service for people. They want to help people. But the problem is they don't know where to go. Do I go to a, energy school, and it takes years or thousands of dollars? Maybe they don't have the money or the time, or they go to massage therapy school, but maybe they're not getting to everything. So let's talk about this from a perspective of a healer or a doctor or a chiropractor. How long would it take to become certified in Zone School?
Couple things. First of all, and again, in Zone School, we have medical doctors, we have chiropractors, we have acupuncturists, naturopaths, Reiki masters, energy workers, et cetera, et cetera. The only people that are not allowed in Zone School is like real estate agent. Someone was like, yeah, it's all real estate, but well, what can I tell you? You have to be a doctor or healer of. I don't care if you took like a 3-weekend Reiki thing. I just need you to be a doctor or healer of some type, someone who can interact with patients and or clients.
Okay.
Once we have that, let's go back to Ray in Australia. He went to massage therapy school. Now, I don't know how long massage therapy school is, but I guess it's a year. I don't know how long it is.
Like 1,000 hours in some state. It depends on the state, but let's just say 1,000 hours roughly.
Fair enough. Well, how long does the cardiologist go to medical school? A long time. But guess what? None of them could fix that person's heart. They put him on a heart transplant list. Ray, who's just, went to massage therapy school and then joined Zone School. I mean, he is a Zone School mastermind member, so he's deep in. Look what he did. So I would say that the results of a Zone School member, even if they're, not to diminish any of this, but even if they're an energy worker or massage therapist, they'll get better results than any MD who's not in Zone School, except for obviously emergency medicine. Obviously, if someone has a burst appendix or they crash in their motorcycle or they need to go to an emergency room to get their life saved, of course, that's a separate thing. And thank God there's MDs who do that. But when it comes to your average internist, who's trying to help someone's like digestion or this or that, a zone school doctor will dwarf the results they get. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is, how long does it take? If someone joins zone school today, when I hear my voice right now, and it's a special deal for you guys. If someone joins zone school today, you get immediate and lifetime access to 60 hours of me teaching. You can watch 5 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day or an hour a day or 2 hours a day. But in the not too distant future, usually within about 2 months, you're ready for your certification call with me, and then you become certified. And then also we have a lot of advanced programs. We have a mastermind program. We have a lot of different advanced programs. And as I mentioned before, there's probably about 500 hours of material for them, if you go up to mastermind, which Ray in Australia is why you can pull that off. But, people have come to me who were told they definitely needed their gallbladder out. They didn't get it out. They needed a liver transplant, liver heal. I mentioned the hysterectomy, didn't need it. I almost hesitate to say some of the things because it would sound unbelievable, but it is.
No, I believe you. Okay, so what you're saying, if somebody wants to become zone certified in your school, they could do it as quickly as 2 months, right? And that's fair, 2 to 3 months. Okay, so let's talk price, because as I said, many people don't know where to go, or they spend years or thousands of dollars that maybe they don't have time or money to do that. Let's talk about price. What does it cost to go to zone school if I came to you, Dr. Pete, directly? If I said, hey, Dr. Pete, called you and said, I want to join your school, what would you charge me?
Well, Lisa, we'd have to charge what, like $9,000, Michael? So she said, "Wouldn't charge me." I'm just like, so, but
okay, not me. Somebody else.
So what I would say is, I want to say two things about that. First of all, zone school costs $24.97. But for you guys, for your organization, and this is it, you could look around. We don't give discounts or deals or anything like that. Just for your organization, just you guys, and you have to be, affiliated with, part of.
Follower of us, right, of our organization. So what you're saying, Dr. Pete, is we have a better price structure than you do.
You do. And by the way, I want to also say about the being certified and learning these kind of things. All you have to be is some kind of doctor or healer. So let's say someone's like, oh, I'm a psych therapist. Good. You're a Reiki master. Good. Or you're a chiropractor. Good. But I'll say this is something that really, I don't know if the word is proud. I'm not sure if that's the right word I'm feeling and that I'm saying, but I can't think of another word. So I'm just going to go with proud for the moment. Here's one thing I'm really proud of is, of our 1,600 members, I'd say, I don't know, let's say 70% of them are chiropractors. I don't know. I have no idea how many, 60%. What I've heard a lot are these chiropractors who say this to me, and it really, just makes me feel extra good. They're like, hey, Dr. Pete, I've been a chiropractor for 40 years. I've been practicing for 40 years. Or I've been practicing for 30 years. I've been practicing for 27 years, 39 years, 45. I mean, these chiropractic veterans. And they say, no, I was practicing successfully. They were like struggling.
Right.
And they'll say, like, I joined zone school a year ago, which means, we'll say, been practicing for, 40 years without zone school. Now they're in their 41st year of practice. And the last year is with the zone school knowledge. And they're like, I didn't know anything. I thought I knew stuff. I don't know anything. So it's so cool when I hear that. And I hear it, I don't know. I bet you, of our 1,600 members, and however many of those are chiropractors, I bet about 100 of our members total are chiropractors practicing over 35, 40 years. And I love when I hear that from them. I heard it twice Saturday.
That's really cool. Yeah.
That's very rewarding as an instructor, and also as a healer. As a healer, when people say to you, I went to 5 other doctors, or I've done everything else, I spent thousands of dollars and nobody could fix me, and you fixed me in 4 or 5 minutes or whatever. So that's impressive. And I want to say one more thing about people that are considering a healing career with you. There's even payments available. So people can't afford even the $19.97, they can break it up into payments. Is that right?
If I'm not mistaken, you're correct. So I know in our regular link, the $24.97, this exists, and I'm pretty certain it does in yours. It's a thing called like buy now, pay later. I think it's through a company called Klarna. Maybe I'm saying their name wrong. But if you go to the link, it should say like, $19.97. And then under it has like 3 different options that are buy now, pay later. I don't know much about it. I don't know exactly how it works.
Yeah, I don't either, but we didn't want to let people know that And it's available. So if you really want to be a healer and you want to have a paid career, because this isn't just, hey, you go 1,000 hours or spend thousands of dollars. You literally can be up and running, certified in 2 to 3 months, and then you can actually start charging for your career. So if you have to put it on a credit card, or you want to do this and you have a heart of service and you didn't know where to go to become a healer, we have a solution and we have it on payment. So Dr. Pete, I want to thank you because I get zoned, like I said, regularly, and I do mine remotely, and I'm looking forward to a live session when I can get one. But I'm just going to need out and let y'all finish. So, good job. And I'm kind of jealous, Michael, of your session with Dr.
Oh, I am. I can tell you something, Lisa. You should be jealous.
I am.
Not to rub it in or anything.
You are.
All right. So going over, okay. So we went over, fabulous pricing, Zone School. I highly recommend this. And I want to get in because I know you got a big martial arts MMA ground per se, and you've worked with a lot of elite athletes. How does this work with just the average everyday fitness guy?
Great question. So a couple things. So I am a lifelong martial artist. It certainly has nothing. It really has nothing to do with anything. It's almost like someone else is a lifelong golfer. I mean, I in no way say that martial arts is necessary for someone to be a great healer. It's just a separate subject. It's like someone says, "Hey, I've been golfing my whole life."
Right.
That's nice. It doesn't make them a better healer, but they like to golf. With that said, I'm a lifelong martial artist, and I used to compete at a very high level, and I still, train quite a bit. Because of that, or I don't know, actually, I don't know what it's because of, but for whatever reason, I have taken care of some very, very, very famous pro athletes, many of whom are pro fighters. But interestingly enough, and you asked about the general fitness
and how they help their performance, and that type of thing.
Totally. Two things come to mind to answer that question. You're asking about sport performance or whatever. Two things come to mind. The first thing comes to mind is when I have someone that I'm working on, like I worked on you, I can say this quite sincerely. I don't care if they're a 90-year-old woman. I don't care if they're a 25-year-old male pro athlete. I don't care if they're a recreational, like someone who works out. I don't care if they're an infant. Everyone gets the same thing. I see where they're not balanced, I balance them. So I don't even really think of anything special for any of them.
Okay.
That's number one. Number two, I had a guy who was one of the, I'm not going to say his name, that I'm sure he wouldn't care if I said his name, but I just won't say it anyway. He is an NFL superstar. He played for several teams. One of the teams he played for was the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay.
When he played for the 49ers, he was my patient. He was having a lot of problems on the field, mostly mental, because he was one of the most highly paid players in the NFL, and he, the press, all that BS. And I did my thing with him, and his performance on the field spoke for itself. So I've helped a lot of pro athletes with that. I actually had, speaking of that, I had the Raiders quarterback many years before who had a severe shoulder injury, and he was told he was going to be out for a year, and we had him back starting in 3 weeks.
Wow.
It's interesting.
That's impressive.
I'll say this, and I know this is not part of the question, but I had this realization recently, and I want to explain it, even though you didn't ask this exactly. I think you'll like it. So there's a place called it's in Lourdes, France. It's a religious shrine where people historically with terrible conditions. Some of them are like real diseases,
right?
And some of them are just like fractures or whatever. They go to this place and they sit in the holy water or whatever, right? They have like this religious experience, and then they walk out and just walk out without their crutches or whatever. And these fractures, you can look it up. It's not hard to look up. Lourdes, France, religious shrine, healing.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's not hard to find. But they have people who have serious diseases that you could see on film, some kind of MRI or whatever. And they go sit and they sit in the whatever. And the next day they take a film, it's all healed. The fact that it healed, period, is shocking to them.
Right.
And being that it healed in 24 hours is more shocking. That's what I teach. That's what I teach. That's what I teach. If you want to know why someone can go to Lourdes, France, and that can happen, that's what I teach.
That's it right
the
there.
same power that's being tapped into there, I teach how to tap into it. That's what I teach.
That's that. I can't. You almost lost for words at it.
Yeah.
It really is impressive. I'm impressed. I really am, especially experiencing it here personally. So even the average fitness person, it's going to improve their life. Even them just going to the gym, the daily gym guy. If it's going to improve a professional athlete, your NFL players, their performance on the field, why wouldn't it help somebody with their daily routine?
I would agree. And two things about that. One is, my theme for anyone is, as long as people feel good head to toe and function good head to toe, they're happy.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm interested in providing for them. And also, and I will mention this guy's name, different guy, not the first two. First I mentioned the guy, the 49er, then I mentioned the Raiders.
Raider guy.
I'm going to mention a different guy now, but I'll say this guy's name. Justin Tuck. He's retired, but he's like
I know who he is.
I mean, he played for the Raiders one season. I think he made his name on the New York Giants, but he played for the Raiders for one season. When he played for the Raiders, he was referred to me when he first got here. So I remember when I met him, freaking huge. This guy's his bicep is bigger than my thigh, And so I'm like, everyone called him Tuck. They call him, his name is Justin Tuck. Everyone called him Tuck, but I don't know. I met him with Justin. I call him Justin. I'm probably the only person to call him Justin. I'm like, so Justin, nice to meet you. He was like, oh, that's my first name. I forgot. So I said, I'll work on you. And he was very dedicated. He was going to come once a week, the whole season. I said, okay, what would you like me to help you with? And he goes, actually, in my whole career, he tells me that he got stingers all the time. So those who don't know what a stinger is, when they, football players hit their heads and their neck gets a little compressed, they get these shots down their arm. It's called a stinger. Right. It's very uncomfortable. So I said to him, how often have you had stingers? And this is what he said. He goes, every game and every practice. Every game and every practice. Now, he played for the Giants. They had a team chiropractor. He's been getting adjusted. This guy's getting adjusted chiropractically once a week for the last, 10 years.
Right.
I said, okay, Justin, I'm going to put these stingers to bed. So whatever. And he was very good. Come every week. And, they have an away game, a home game. We coordinate, and he didn't miss any of it, but I literally adjusted him once a week all season. So when the season ended, I don't remember what happened. They got eliminated from the playoffs, so they didn't make the playoffs. I don't remember. But with the Raiders, I think that's when he retired from football, actually. And he had an apartment in San Francisco, very, as you can imagine, fancy, beautiful building. And he said to me, hey, Dr. Pete, he's moving, backing up his stuff, but he wanted to get one last session. And I said, yeah, sure. And I didn't typically make house call to him. He would meet me at my office, but he said, hey, can you just come over? And it, quite frankly, even though I liked him, and I actually wanted to see that building because he actually lived this very fancy building. I'd never been in that building. So I went, I probably would have done it anyway, but I also wanted to see the building. For those who know about San Francisco, that particular building, you might have seen it in the news, it's sinking. It's this very fancy building where it's very, very, very expensive to live there, and it's sinking into the concrete.
I've heard
it in the news. That building.
Okay.
So I went to that building, which was sinking, but you can't tell, but it is. I guess engineers can tell, but
yes,
lay people can't. But anyway, so I go to the building, and I said to him, Justin, still call him Justin. I'm like, I have a question. How many stingers did you get this year? Which let's practice. None.
Wow.
None.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, it's the best. And he was quite, appreciative.
Oh, I bet he was. I mean, yeah, it helps his career. And all this going, I got to ask, is there any ailment zone technique can't help?
Two things. I'll give you a two-part answer.
Okay.
Part one of the answer is, again, God forbid someone needs emergency medicine. I can't help them at all. If someone has a burst appendix, I'm like, go to the emergency room.
Right.
I don't know what to do for you. Or if someone needs stitches, I'm like, go to the emergency room because I don't know how to give stitches. So let's just be clear. If it's emergency medicine, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
That's part one of the answer.
Okay.
Part two of the answer is, let's say someone has, we'll make it a three-part answer. So part one of the answer is emergency medicine. I don't know what to do. Thank God there's emergency rooms with doctors there who know how to save people's lives. Good. Part two of the answer is, let's say someone has, pretty severe, they have Parkinson's disease, or they have IBS or they have, an autoimmune, I'll fix those up. And I have, Now let's go to the next category. Someone who has a life-threatening disease and, God forbid, the doctor told them they have like a week to live. I mean, I'm not going to turn them away. I'll do my best. And maybe if they come to me, that week will turn into a year. But, like that's, if the doctor, like I said, God forbid, the doctor's like tells them they have a week to live. I mean,
right.
I'll do what I can do because my attitude is they're a lot better off with a balanced body than an unbalanced body. So at least I'll balance their body.
Right.
So that's the answer.
So there are some extreme conditions. Yeah. Is basically.
Right.
So I'd like to wrap up, because I know you mentioned your zone school gone from 1,200 now to 1,600. I mean, everything's really getting big. What's your vision, goal for zone technique and specifically zone school? Where do you want to head in the future? Where do you see this in the future?
I have a few thoughts. Thought one is I don't know where it's going to be. Okay. That two is, it's funny. The week that I opened zone school, it was in around like September or October 2017.
Right.
The week that I opened it, we actually had 30 enrollments in the first like 4 days. And I remember someone said to me, 30 enrollments in 4 days. And I don't know even why I said it. I just said it. I was like, on the way to tens of thousands. So I said that. I don't know why I said it, but right. So I always figure like, on the way to tens of thousands, when I was 1,600.
Right.
And the last thing is, this sounds almost like corny and I can't even explain it. So this is the last thing I'm going to say. And I'm not even claiming to understand what I'm saying. So it's just something that I just always think this, So, like, speaking of football, when football teams play,
right?
I would think, not always, but probably in the history of the NFL, probably. I don't know if it happens still because the way the world is now, but probably all the players in one locker room get together and they might be, like a religious person and they'll pray
right.
that they win. And the other people, they're in their locker room and they bring in a religious person and they pray that they win.
Same thing.
Both praying, presumably to God. And I guess, God picked one of them if that's how it works. I don't know. But, that's how, they both pray and,
I gotcha.
So, without even talking religion, whatever, people sometimes are thinking, oh, God wants this or God, I'm not claiming to know what God wants or anything like that. But I always feel like God's on zone school side. I always feel that because it's so legit in its results and it's so unique in its results.
Right.
So I always feel like how it's going to evolve, I don't know exactly, but I feel like it's in good hands.
I like that answer. And why would he or she be in favor of it when you're helping healing people? I mean, it's not side, like you said, to use a sports metaphor type thing or whatever, because those are two side opposing forces. This isn't about opposing forces. This is benefiting everybody. There's nothing opposing about it.
And the last thing I'll say is when someone looks at that kind of session,
right,
you're just like, how could that like fix like a lip? It can.
Yeah.
If you understand the intricacies. And let's say a chiropractor who's not in zone, so I kind of do that, do that. It may look similar, but it has nothing to do with each other. And let me give you an analogy. Let's just say you went to an acupuncturist. Let's just say,
okay,
a good one, a good acupuncturist.
Right.
And the acupuncturist said, based on what I'm doing with you, I'm putting the needle right here. Like this is where the needle goes,
right,
because they're experts. So the needle's here.
Right.
And let's say, and you're like, oh, great session, whatever. Let's say later that day you're home and a button came off your shirt. So you're just sewing the button. And let's say while you're sewing the button, you kind of prick your finger. Not bad, but you just the needle kind of goes in your finger.
Right.
Just a little bit. Well, a needle was in here and a needle was in here. But you can see that is vastly different. This needle was very particular.
Yes.
This needle was random. That's like a chiropractor said, oh, I do that. No, you don't do that. Because to know exactly where to do it and the sequence, right, and why and what you're feeling on the head and what you're fixing in the brain and where you're working in the cord, that's like the specifics of this, not just randomly cracking here and there.
Right.
And then I'll just add to that, part of zone school, a tiny little part is like, here's the points of the head, here's the points in the cord that relate. And let's say someone says, oh, I'll just again, zone school is 60 hours for a reason. If zone school was as simple as me showing the points on the head and the points in the cord, the zone school videos would be 5 minutes. but they're 60 hours.
60 hours.
So if you want to learn properly, join Zone School. Take your 500 off and enjoy it.
60 hours for a reason. And I will add my 2 cents to it too after going through it. If you have any doubt, go get his own technique done from someone, because we know, there's technique certified practitioners all over the country. You have them everywhere.
Right, in the world. So like Michael said, if you go to zoneschoolofhealing.com and click on directory, you can find someone near you and you can experience it. And quite frankly, Zone School's got 100% money back guarantee. So you don't even have to wait for that. You could join Zone School today, and if for some crazy reason within 30 days you don't like it, get a refund. But that's not going to happen, because since 2017, with 1,600 people, I've given 10 refunds. So you're not going to get a refund. Just so that you can get one, though, you could sleep easy that first night.
You will, yeah. And
love that.
You did, because after going through it, it'll make you want to do the Zone School.
Right.
But if you're already sold, jump into the Zone School. So, but at the very least, go have some work done on you, and I think you'll be a lot more wanting to do the Zone School.
And also, as I've said before, and I've been saying this from 2017 until now, because there's 100%. And listen, the reason I offer the money back guarantee is just to show the confidence with which I'm teaching it. Again, no one actually gets the 10 people out of 1,600.
Right.
No one gets the money back guarantee. But just the fact that it exists makes people feel calm. So what I've said from 2017 till now is, join Zone School today. One of two things will happen. It's either the best decision of your healing career, or it's free. There's no other thing. Right? what I mean, it's the best decision of your healing career, or it's free. What else are we talking?
There you go. You heard it. You got anything you want to add, Lisa, as we close here?
No, I just thank you both. Thank you, Michael, for being on site with Dr. Pete. Thank you, Dr. Pete. I love seeing the session live, and I think you guys had a great conversation. So thank you both. And I would encourage everybody to get zones. And then if you like it and you have an interest in becoming a healer, then join Zone School. And again, we have better pricing with Dr. Pete, so go with us. So thank you both. I appreciate you.
Thank Dr. Pete for this. It's on location. Definitely, we got to do more of this. This was fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it's fun.
Fun. And I just want to thank everyone for watching. And go to Dr. Pete's, again, your website.
It's zoneschoolofhealing.com. Well, this is important. Lisa's going to be glad I said this.
Yeah, we're going to post our link.
Zoneschoolofhealing.com to check stuff out. But there's a place that says enroll here. Don't enroll there, because that will be $24.97. Enroll on the link that Lisa gives you, because that's the.
Thank you, Dr. Pete. We really appreciate how you perfected this technique and made it available as a career for people. I think it's amazing, and a lot of people are also doing remote. And so if you live in a place where you maybe can't get to a zone therapist, there's always remote sessions as well. So thank you, Dr. Pete. It's been great. As always, thank you, and hopefully I'll get to see you soon.
Excellent, my pleasure. Thank you, Michael. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
When people are in my school and understand how healing really works, because zone technique could be applied to by any doctor or healer, chiropractors or any doctor or healer. I have one guy who just comes to my mind. He's in Australia. He's a massage therapist. That's a degree. He is a massage therapist. Someone came to him on a freaking heart transplant list, and he fixed them up, and they're not in the heart transplant list, and their heart is totally healed. And they go back to the cardiologist who had put them on a heart transplant list, and they're like, we don't know what's going on here, but your heart is totally healed. You are now off the heart transplant list. Your heart is totally healthy. Now, who else can do that?